What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today we have some interesting news, as we got the official Twitter reveal of the next Sugo-Fest batch that is going to be appearing in One Piece Treasure Cruise. And remember, this is the end of month batch. This looks to be the last Sugo-Fest before the inevitable release of that character on August 5th, 1900 PST time. Once again, mark it down in your calendars. This Sugo-Fest, however, luckily for us, I guess in a way, it's only actually introducing one brand new legend, and unlike the normal end of month batches that introduce two new legends. So I think that this is a good thing, only one character to really look out for. Obviously, there's a bunch of new rare recruits in Usopp, Marco, and also Okiku, or Kiku Nojo, are all going to be pullable rare recruits, and we don't currently have information on what these rare recruits do, but once we do, I will obviously bring you guys an additional video discussing them. Hopefully they are good rare recruits nonetheless, but we do actually have the information for IZO, and unfortunately it's actually not the full in-game information. We actually only know his captain ability and his special ability at this current point in time, so we do actually have to wait a little bit further on until we get further news. But his artwork looks pretty cool, honestly, and if you guys have been keeping up to date with the anime, obviously, IZO releasing now does make actually a little bit of sense. Let's go ahead and open up in a separate page here, zoom in a little bit, give you guys a bit more information here. So let's have a look at this captain ability here. So he is a strength shooter slasher, because we have seen some other footage. He is a slasher and a shooter, but his captain ability only boosts strength and shooter characters, 1.2 HP, 5.25 times attack, 5.5 times attack if you have a recovery, a Wano, or a tandem slot, and also makes recovery and tandem have matching slot effects. Now, this is kind of weird, and you think, like, these multipliers are not very high, but another thing you have to take into consideration, right, with all these other characters that have been releasing over the past couple of months, lots and lots of dual units. Dual units don't get access to super type or super class, which inevitably gives you higher numbers. So this character having a 5.5 multiplier, it does confirm that it is going to be either a super type or a super class. Either one of them, honestly, is fine for me. Honestly, it feels like it has been a while since we've had a super type strength unit, so I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case. And then further on with his captain ability, when you tap on this character while he has a Wano slot, reduces damage threshold by 2 turns. Very unique, very akin to characters such as Ben Beckman and Lucky Roo, especially when you look here. For any character on the crew with Barrier Pierce as a potential ability and meets the requirements for it to activate, reduces all enemies' damage reduction by 2 turns when you land a perfect with that character. Pretty much the exact same, but it's not quite the same. Because with Beckman and Lucky Roo, they are slightly different in that they remove defense up, threshold, and also damage threshold. So threshold, damage reduction, and defense up when you hit a perfect with a Barrier Pierce character. So once again, we'll just have a look at Ben Beckman Lucky Roo on the database here, and it says when a barrier potential enabled character hits a perfect, reduces increased defense, damage reduction, and threshold by 1 turn. So yeah, obviously it is a little bit different with this character's captain ability. So it means that if the enemy does put up defense up in any way, shape, or form, you need to remove defense up still with another character, or reduce their defense in any other capacity. So captain ability wise, it's actually not terrible, because it has a very unique mechanic that this character and only a very few select characters in the game actually get access to, and has the ability to give you a 5.5 multiplier, 1.2 HP, no cooldown reduction, which is a bit annoying. This character, like Ben Beckman Lucky Roo, they give you -2 cooldown at the start of the quest, because a lot of people, when they view this character IZO, they're going to immediately compare it to this character because of how similar they are in nature with their captain abilities. One thing, however, we don't get access to with this is we don't know what his super type special is, and that can really make or break the character and could really sway it in a couple of different ways. So it's going to be interesting to see what it actually does. So for some reason, the English version of this graphic has not been released on Twitter. I don't know what's going on, but we have the Japanese one here, so we do have to make some translations. Man, this is a throwback, we haven't had to do translations in a hot minute. But we actually can see this character's super type now, and it's actually a super class, can you believe it? So it's it's for superclass shooters, and the effect is that it reduces defense up by 6 turns, which is awesome, goes in line with his captain ability, allowing you to actually remove that further debuff. Also, reducing shooter resistance 25% for 1 turn. Inflicting 25% resistance on a superclass is so strong, and then shooters will get superclass shooter. So I think that the superclass in line with the captain ability actually makes a lot of sense. So one thing we also need to discuss is the character's special. So the special is going to give you -1 cooldown. It's also going to reduce HP of one enemy by 20%, and then it will give strength and shooter characters a chain multiplier growth rate for normal taps up to 0.6. So normally when you hit a perfect, you get a 0.3 increase to the chain. This is making it go all the way up to 0.6, so doubling the effectiveness of hitting perfects for strength and shooter characters, which is really good actually. It then will boost the strength and shooter base attack by 1250 for 1 turn, and if the enemy's damage reduction, defense up, or damage threshold has 5 or more turns remaining when the special is launched, you change block and type slots into Wano. That's very strong. However, you're not going to see that often. You know, the fact that the enemy has to have those debuffs with 5 or more turns, you know, it has to have at least one of those effects up by 5 or more turns for then to use the special, and then you get the full board of Wano slots. So I'm not really a big fan of that, because you're not going to be able to use that all the time. You know, you can't guarantee that this is going to be a unit that can give you the full board of Wano slots. So I'm really not a big fan of that actually. I really wish that the condition was a little easier to do, or the condition gave you something else. Honestly, if it was just change block into Wano, it didn't change type slots, or if it only just did type slots and not block, I feel like it would be a bit more balanced. But the fact that you have to have that specific debuff to get the Wano, oh man, that's going to be really annoying to use in like a lot of subsidiary content. Now, further looking at IZO, I'm going to have a look at some of the other effects that he has. So we've talked about his special and his captain ability. One of his crewmate abilities gives some stats, but this other crewmate ability is fascinating. So it says that if you have a shooter captain and you have a Wano slot on IZO, when you tap with IZO, he removes 1 turn of damage reduction. It's a very, very good crewmate ability. I don't think we've seen this type of crewmate ability ever, and that's one thing I will give the game credit for, is that they've done amazing jobs with the brand new crewmate abilities that have been introduced into the game. Very unique mechanics that a lot of characters don't get access to, so I like this. Very, very unique effect with that crewmate ability. IZO actually has a really good support effect as well. It attaches to Whitebeard, Jozu, Mako, Ace, and I think it also attaches to Okiku, and the effect is that it adds 10% base stats to the unit, and if you hit a perfect, you remove 1 turn of Rainbow Shield. Great support effect. So across the board, this is not only going to be a nice unit to use in content every now and then, but a really good supporter unit as a sub or as a support, obviously. Now, we actually have to look at the final tap of this character, so let's go ahead and translate this one. And also now having a look at the final tap. So in order to activate it, it's actually really difficult. You need to be on the final stage, and you need to have 10% or less HP. Very difficult to do, unless if one of the rare recruits has an effect that can actually reduce your crew's HP or something like that. But the effect is very akin to stuff that we've seen before. So the effect itself, it does remove 1 turn of damage threshold. It might also remove Rainbow Shield, but I know it definitely removes threshold. And it will multiply the final chain by 2.25. So, you know, if you hit a 5 times chain, then you final tap with this character, that 5 times chain is multiplied by 2.25, and that is going to be the final chain of this character's final tap at level 5. So that effect is actually really strong. It's definitely one of the better final taps. You know, Uta and New Year's Robin both have that final tap and have been amazing whilst using those types of effects. So honestly, I think this is a really well-designed unit. I don't think this is going to be the type of unit that sees play very often, but I actually really like what they've done with it. It's very unique in a lot of ways, you know, especially can give you cooldown reduction and base attack boost and tap timing additional chain, which goes in line with his final tap, obviously. But then if you're up against content that has heavy defense up, threshold, or damage reduction, then you can get those Wano slots and obviously remove a lot of them with his captain ability. And you've got his super class as well to remove further turns of defense up and stuff like that. It's just the fact that, you know, we're so close to the big reveal of the brand new character that I don't think too many people are going to pull for this guy. But remember, it is an end of month banner, which means that after this banner does conclude, this character will be injected into normal legend tickets moving forward, so it will be easier to acquire, and just hopefully the character actually appears on Sugo-Fests moving forward. Obviously we had the release of Ulti Maria and then Robin Koala, and like since their release they actually haven't appeared on any other banner yet except for their debut, not even the treasure map or the Kizuna or something like that, which is a little disheartening. So hopefully, you know, this character is actually going to appear on more banners because he seems really interesting, and I think he's got a really cool final tap, and it really makes shooters just kind of interesting too. So let me know your thoughts and opinions about the brand new IZO character coming to One Piece Treasure Cruise very shortly. It looks to be on the 18th. 28th, sorry, the 28th of July is when it's going to be debuting. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.